Earlier today, NC State put out some social media announcements. One of them, Matt Chazanow, I'll have to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. It's the first time talking with him. Is taking over as voice of NC State. We're talking football, basketball, and he joins us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Matt, thank you for taking the time. Let me be among the first to welcome you to the Triangle, and we'll start with that very basic question. Chazanow? Are we getting that right?
Yeah, it's what it looks like.
All right, cool.
Now. Yeah, a little more emphasis on the Chaz. But, hey, man, it's great to talk to you, and thank you for having me, and I appreciate the welcome.
We'll now that we have the most basic out of the way, we'll go to the slightly less or slightly more basic, I guess. Why NC State? Why is this the move for you?
You know, it's funny. I got that question. It seems so obvious to me that I actually to me, NC State is the peak of all of this. I think NC State is the most incredible opportunity, and I mean that, no hyperbole. I've never had to, BS my way through any question to anybody through this process, and that is one of my favorites. From history of winning to then obviously a little bit of recency bias. It's one of the great roles in college athletics history is 2024 for the Wolfpack. And I'm honored to be a part of it. And I couldn't be more excited. Like I said, great history, so much past winning, current winning. And I know in this climate from my current experience and all that I've done over about 20 years, you can't do that without great people. It's just not possible. There are too many things that go into it. It's really not transactional. It's not just about money. It's not just about resources. And I think I won't name some schools, but all college athletics fans know that, right? There's some schools with big budgets that don't get it done at the level. And look, it matters, right? I mean, there's no doubt that NC State is fully resourced, but it doesn't just require that. And so I'm excited to be a part of that and work with the best people. And it's just an amazing opportunity. It's a pinch me day. It's awesome.
Matt Chazanow taking over as voice of NC State. He is joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline here on the drive. Matt, for people that want to know kind of what your vibe is and maybe haven't listened to a ton of Washington State, who are your influences? Like who are your goats of play-by-play?
That's a great question. I've kind of plucked a bunch of stuff and picked. I don't have like one guy. It's not like I model myself or copy this. I think you could look at I'll pick some West Coast guys just because I've been out here, and I don't say that in any way lacking deference to full deference to Gary Hahn and Woody Durham and all of the greats. The late great Bob Harris just passed away, and but Kevin Calabro on the West Coast is incredibly specific in his radio play-by-play. He does TV for the Blazers now. I've always admired his work, his energy. He's done some national stuff for ESPN. He did the Sonics forever. He's great. The gentleman I replaced was named Bob Robertson here at Washington State. He was here 50 years. He wasn't good. He was great. He really captured the fan base, but he was so specific and so detailed, and on the timing was right. All of his fundamentals from it, but also he understood the passion of the moment. And I think that inflection and energy is something that is integral to lending to that. And he always nailed that. And look, there are guys all around the country who do this in different ways. And I think that you can kind of glean, you could never, ever copy Keith Jackson. He's so unique,
Yep.
He was so special in the way he did it that but you admire that he was authentic, right? And I think above all, what you can take from a guy like that is you go, all right, I'm not going to sound or be like Keith Jackson. And one could, or, another example of a guy who's like that is Vin Scully. You're not going to just emulate that and bottle it and put it in your own ethos and make it yours. But they were them. They were in their own skin. And I think above all, to be authentic and respectful and humble and kind and be yourself and be unafraid to be yourself, because it's a vulnerable place to be, is probably the best way to do it.
So you've referenced Washington State a few times. We've here in ACC country, which we're happy to include you in, have watched the Pac-12 Washington State Oregon State, whatever that is, from afar. And I'm interested as somebody that was obviously as close as you can be. What happened, and are there warning signs or advice that we should be looking for the current Power Four conferences? Because, you go back not that long ago, the Pac-12 looked invincible, and now it's definitely not even in existence.
Yeah, let me give you a two-pronged answer on that, and hopefully we get to talk again.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate you having me on. And there will kind of be two hats I wear. One of them is I'm at practice. I know the roster. I know the team. Let's preview Western Carolina. Let's preview Tennessee. Right? Like I'm in.
I love that you know the schedule already. Good work. Good prep.
Oh yeah. No. We're locked and loaded. We're I'm dialed in. I'm be out there, and I can't wait. We can't wait for practice to start. And the enthusiasm is real. I'm really really excited about this. But that's one hat, right? And that is the core competency of this. In that, and I'm going somewhere with the answer. Just I'll answer your question.
Yep.
But like, if you're doing 70 down the highway and I'm calling the game, I want you to know exactly what's going on with the Pack and what the stories of the game are, and all those things. And that is with firsthand primary source. I witnessed it information, and here we are. I was not in the rooms with our former Washington State's former athletic director, Pat Chun, the soon-to-be retiring president, Kirk Schultz, Larry Scott, George Kliavkoff. Like, I was more of a witness and felt it than I was privy to it. So I don't want to say anything that is mischaracterized as I am the source for conference realignment in the Pac, because that wouldn't be accurate. I did live it, and I did get a sense for how it went wrong, quite honestly, and they got picked apart, and I think the sense I got was there was if not a lack of urgency, maybe at times over the last 10, 15 years, probably an overconfidence from the folks in charge. There was some leadership issues with the way they set the finances up of the league TV network. They kind of went to war. They went to battle with ESPN and Fox, and now it's Peacock and NBC and Amazon Prime and all these other streaming entities are involved. And I don't know about warning signs and flares for the ACC. That seems to be now currently being discussed by lawyers and different jurisdictions in different states, and it's Florida and it's North Carolina, in the state of North Carolina, yep. and elsewhere. So it's kind of over my, I don't have any inside info you don't have, but relative to the Pac, I can say it's been anxious for the Cougs and the Beavs. They have landed on the right side of some financial lawsuits lately. What was so unique about the Pac, and maybe this helps answer your question in a more meaty, detailed way, is often when there's been conference realignment, like two teams have left the league. So like Oklahoma and Texas leave the Big 12, right? And then the Big 12 backfills. It's been rare that 10 teams leave a league and 2 remain. That's bizarre, and it was unique. That was a very odd, imperfect storm, for lack of a better word. And so it created a sense of an island. Now they're still regarded as power entities by the NCAA bylaws and the way the players are going to start to get paid and where all that currently stands. So in some ways they're not in the worst shape, but they're in a bit of purgatory trying to figure out what's what. So it's definitely there are definitely like teams leaving the Pac to the Big 12 that kind of felt like, let's jump ship. UCLA and USC left. The Washington Oregon thing seemed to come down to the very wire. Like, until it's signed, it's not signed. That was right down to the wire from what I heard. And I'm not going to lie, it's stressful and anxious for everybody involved. I think the league, the teams, the university presidents, athletic directors. It feels existential, and it feels like things are evolving. I'll also say this: conference realignment is as old as college football. Mm-hmm. It's been going on for 100 years or longer. It's part of the fabric of college football. The Southwest Conference dissolved. The Big East Football Conference dissolved, and obviously the ACC has benefited in many ways from that, and had schools added. And I was, my whole life was in Big East and ACC country until I came out here, and so I lived that and felt it. And it's part of the story of what this is, and it will continue. It's not done yet.
Matt, we appreciate you for taking the time, introducing you a little bit to the triangle here, and we look forward to catching up with you again in the future.
All right. I love it. Thanks so much for having me, and go Pack. And I can't wait. I appreciate you.